back to the statistics on our
show. Yeah, what are we getting? What do we get in a month?
3 downloads
a month.
Yeah, 3.
That's pretty good.
It's more than last month. Was
4 or 5.
Do you think we should record a podcast?
Yeah, let's do that.
This was the podcast. What do you mean?
This is the pod. This is it.
All right, so we've been here for what, an hour and 15 minutes, and we haven't recorded a thing yet.
We've recorded a lot of things, just nothing we're going to use for the show.
40 minutes of it.
Not a good thing. Not a good thing.
I'm with you, Rocco. Let's go.
Let's go.
Man, I'm tired of waiting.
All right, do it.
Guys. Stop talking. Dang it.
Stop making sense, Rocco.
Coming up on this episode of Linux User Space, we're going to discuss our distro, which is Manjaro, the good, the bad, and the ugly. And Leo brings us an app that you are going to just love if you lived in the 90s. Hello and welcome to the Linux User Space. I'm Rocco.
I'm Joe.
I'm Leo.
And I'm Dan.
And you know what? This week we found out, Joe, how hard it is to find a mic.
Yeah. Yeah.
So Joe has been looking for a mic for many weeks now.
Many.
And because of everything that's going on in the world today, you know, mics are a hot commodity. And not only just any mics, every mic. How hard was it, Joe, to find a mic?
Yeah, I'm a victim. I've been victimized. COVID has affected my life in a just unchangeable way, and cannot get a microphone that you want. So yeah, it was crazy. I'm also a victim of myself because I have this decision problem. I have to look at all the things and compare all the specs and all the just like, don't send me down a cereal aisle. I can't do it. I have to look at how much iron and vitamin C's in every one. So I looked at all the mics, reviewed, came up with what I wanted, crowdsourced, and it's out of stock.
Wait, we were here. I think it was last episode.
It was.
We were here.
A week ago.
And Leo, we were going through how many mics trying to say, check this one, check that one.
Yeah. Pretty much every single one that we had ever heard of that we had heard was decent. It was like, check that one, check that one, check that one. None of them.
None of them available.
I think we got a couple, even like Joe put a couple in his cart, and then you came back later and they were available.
Yeah. Gone.
Wait, when the $400 mics are out of stock, there's something wrong.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. So I kept going. I went to like option 1, gone. Option 2, gone. Option 3, gone. Option 4 was there and then gone. Option 5, I didn't even know existed. So I had to like deep dive microphone search.
And this is not just Amazon either, right? This is Amazon and every single website that we have ever bought any bit of audio gear off of.
B&H, Sweetwater, all of them.
Direct. You couldn't even buy direct from some of them. Wow. Just gone. I went to Rode. Like I was like, okay, who's their approved vendors? Went down every single one of them. Nothing. Just nothing. So I ended up with the Samson Q2U, which is, again, like choice number 11, but it's, I don't know, you guys tell me. Like it seems okay. It's a combo mic. It can do XLR or USB. I'm using the XLR side, but it seems nice. It's heavy. I don't know why I like a heavy mic. It feels well built. Like if I dropped it, it wouldn't shatter. But been happy with it so far.
Don't try to drop it just in case.
Well, you got to test all the things. Like what if I did drop it? So I got to test it first.
You got to throw it against the wall and then let it drop.
The only time you do that is if they send you a mic to test. Then that's okay.
Okay.
Maybe just drop it on your pillow.
Does that work if you're testing a laptop too?
Yeah.
Is that Is that okay? Stay. I look to you guys for guidance. I
It
need
has
to
an
be filled in on
SSD
these
in it,
things.
right? So that means it's shockproof.
Yeah.
Right?
Maybe it's got an airbag in it. You'll be all right.
Yeah. No, well, that's the battery. That shouldn't puff up like that.
Well, Joe, you sound fantastic.
Well, thank you. That's never been said by anyone, but I appreciate you saying it. That's really good.
It's the first time for everything, Joe.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, anyways, I paired it with a Focusrite single input USB dealy bobber, and it seems to be working fine. I'm still
Can't
sad
complain.
'cause I didn't get
Sounds
the one.
good.
I really wanted to look, cool, like Rocco.
I told you
and
to buy
Dan.
the Shure SM7B,
Yeah.
dude, but you
You
didn't.
absolutely should have done
Yeah.
that.
Well, I like being married, and
It helps.
there's things. So the mic would have been well worth a lot of things, but
Not your marriage.
I got children, so
Yeah.
Okay.
for the sake
They
of the
can use it
for
too.
the children,
Just think of the kids.
Got to keep it together.
Yeah, they can
think of
use
the
it
kids.
whenever they want outside of recording times.
Oh, they will, because we're homeschooling. So guess who's been working at Daddy's desk? Oh,
Yeah.
buddy!
my
I get
daughter
to put my
too.
desk back together every day.
That's great.
Fun stuff. All right, gentlemen. This week we are zeroing in on Manjaro. Manjaro. Let's hear everybody cheer! Yay!
Yay! Wait, is it Manjaro or Manjaro?
Or Mangaro.
Yeah.
Oh.
Well, if you go by how I spelled it in half the doc, Mangaro. But
Whoops-a-daisy.
there's no spell check in Cody, MD. Yes, Manjaro, which I couldn't find where or what it's supposed to mean. I found a vague reference to Kilimanjaro mountain
Okay,
trail.
oh, cool.
something.
Okay.
But
Got to roll
Yeah.
that R, Joe.
yeah. But no, I don't. I used to do it on Antergos, but not on Manjaro. Yeah,
Manjaro.
Oh, see, I was wondering about that.
well, that's where old $sign Chavez over here is supposed to
That's
step
right.
in and be
That's
like,
right. It's arch, right?
See?
There we go.
I seasoned my desktop with naranjas in its amarillo and azul. Come on,
you
$sign,
see-
get in there, boy.
You season it with tahini. That's it.
Tahini.
Yeah.
Yes, give me
tahini.
some tahini. So, Manjaro. I doubt Roland Singer and Phillip Muller are dealing with much tahini in their locales, but
It's
maybe,
unfortunate.
who knows?
It's unfortunate.
Yeah.
They're missing
Yeah.
out.
Put tahini on all the things. Yes, so 2011, July 10th, first alpha release for Manjaro comes out, and people like it. They think it's pretty cool. It's a new take on what to do with Arch, right? There's some packaging changes, and they go do their own thing. Again, good responses from the community. One of the announcements from Phillip, he talked about kind of the direction they were looking to go in and some of the things they wanted to provide. And he says, we provide user interface tools and scripts to make life easier. Manjaro supports NVIDIA's Optimus technology out of the box, and you can choose between Nouveau Intel or NVIDIA Intel drivers combination. Manjaro hardware detection tool will configure your graphic cards automatically. And with help of Bumblebee BBS Switch, it is possible to switch to your desired graphic mode. So again, user-focused. They want to make Arch easy, right? That's kind of the feeling I was getting from this. They want to keep it easy. So they also talked about a little bit later about how they wanted to enable the AUR. So that was another feature they felt was important to have. Even though they're going to have their own repositories, the AUR is... right? That's Arch. That
It's
seems
where
to be
everything
big,
else is.
Yeah, it's where all the things live. So they made a big point about trying to make that as compatible as they could at the beginning. Fast forward a little bit, they start adding in some other flavors. They launch with XFCE, but they start adding in LXDE, Mate a few years later. Shortly after that release, they start with OpenBox Lite, which I thought Carl Duff's announcement there was pretty funny. He says, only the hardcore need apply to the latest Manjaro flavor of OpenBox Lite. So not for me. I'm not that guy. Yeah, that's not me.
No, definitely open box is not my thing. I've tried it.
I've used it
I've
on
yet
and
to
off.
try
and
it.
It's not that bad, but it is a little more hardcore than your regular DE.
Well, real quick, what's its claim to fame? What's so special about it?
it's floating windows versus a tiling window manager.
Oh.
So it's got that going for it. It's
Okay,
lightweight.
all right.
It's kind of like a desktop environment, but not quite.
Customizable, but mostly through configs.
So it's a very tinkery kind of
Absolutely.
A lot of CLI stuff
You can
going on.
add your own panels,
Okay.
those things. Yeah, it's a lot of customization.
So, yep, they've been working with OpenBox for quite a bit and felt it was important to have it. So, rolling release, of course. So you don't have your annual big release party like we do with all these other guys, but they do update their images. So it looks like they run on about a 2 to 3 month cadence, and you can follow that all the way through the history where they release a new image, and all the while tweaking things, right? Improving the installation, improving some of their tools. Manjaro's little tools that they package are pretty awesome, some of them. So continuing to work on that. We fast forward all the way up to September 27, 2015. Now, prior to this, they were on this .8 release kind of scheme. So it was like .8, 1, .2, .3, .4. They said, enough with this nonsense. It seems like all the distros get to this point, right? They start on some type of convention and they realize they're like, yeah, it doesn't roll off the tongue like it should. So in 1509, they moved to this date and year, month and year type release. So 1509 is September 2015. They moved to these date-based version numbers. And then this is also where they introduce Calamare's installer, as opposed to the ever-loving Cinchi. I've always said Cinchi.
Yeah.
Is there another way to say it? Yeah.
Dude, Cinchi was never kind to me, dude. Never. I'm sorry. Installing it through Manjaro back then and installing it through Intergos was just, I never found good luck with it. That's all I'm saying.
The more I hear about this stuff, the more I realize just how conservative I am in my distros in general. I mean, I'll branch out and compile my own software and stuff, but as far as distros go, very conservative. Never even heard of Cinchi before.
Oh, man. Yeah, so you heard of the Archway, right? So if you installed Antergos and you survived Cinchi, you felt like you had done it the Archway, right?
There were many times using Cinchi that you would try to install, say, Intergos, and it would just completely fail over and over and over again. Now, I will say that it did handle drives better, in my opinion, than most other installers, as far as, when you have like 4 different huge drives in your system, it didn't take like 3 hours to find them, but definitely good that they moved to Calamare's.
You know what else handles drives just fine? F-disk. Yeah, you got to do it manually, right? See, the whole problem was that you were trying to make it easy on yourself, and then Cinchi just shot you in the foot, and you should have just done it the old Archway.
Right. I shouldn't have just used the software that was there. I should have just did it the hard way.
You probably would have gotten to a usable desktop faster.
Probably. You're right.
In defense of Cinchi, I will say, as Antergos developed further and as they got kind of towards the end there, 18 and 19, it got a little more reliable, but early days was rough stuff.
I may be a little bit too hard on it, but I just remember nightmares sometimes from it. So
it wasn't the easiest. Yeah.
I think Calamare's is pretty great. So there's that. I think it was a good choice.
And that's the reason they switched to it, right? I mean, people hear you like, it's a Calamare's, but it's kind of the go-to, right? Like it does well. We've explored the other options.
Yeah.
We just did Fedora.
We've done Anaconda.
Yeah. Give me some Calamare's all day long.
I didn't hate it. I actually kind of like it. I don't know. Maybe that's just my masochistic side kicking in, but I kind of liked it.
Yeah. You just like to argue with me on everything.
Well, that's true.
Okay. So also they pull in KDE as an official flavor at this point. So that's also a big thing, right? Yeah, good move. GNOME still not there. There was something going on there from 2013 to 17 with GNOME.
Hold on, GNOME
Manjaro,
is the go-to. What happened to GNOME?
I can't tell you. I'm not.
I don't know that.
Yeah, I don't know.
So they just had some differing opinions on GNOME.
I guess.
Okay.
Yeah, the early 2000s, at the early 2010s, right? I don't know what that decade's called. A lot of issues with GNOME, right? That's the GNOME 2, GNOME 3 transition period time frame.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's
yeah.
right.
I think there was a lot of it going on. So who knows? It could have just been packaging. I don't know. Let's make up something. What do you guys want to say?
No.
They absolutely hated it.
Yeah.
They never wanted it in their repo ever.
No.
Well, there's a lot of nasty emails back and forth. And
Yeah.
no, never mind.
No, we made that up. Sorry. None of that happened. Maybe it did. We don't know. We'll ask Philip one day. So they pull in KDE, very big for them. That's awesome. We move 4 years further, and along the way, they add a number of desktop environments, especially to their community flavors, guys. Did you hit that community list? Wow.
Yeah, there's a lot on
Yeah,
there.
there's like 3 times as long.
Mm-hmm.
It's very long. By this time, also, in 2019, they have pulled in GNOME as an official. They've pulled in some of these other ones. Actually, KDE, XFCE, and GNOME. And then they always have their architect builder. Those are their official supported installations there. But yeah, a lot of different flavors out there. But also in 2019, big announcement. Manjaro is no longer just a distro. They are now a company. And they go professional, right? They've become a full-fledged business.
Which is a big move, dude.
Yeah, it's really
a huge move to go from a community project to say now we're going to, incorporate and make it a business and be backed by people, be backed by funds, and then you're on your own basically to try to make it as a business. Big move.
This is about the time that Manjaro actually floated across my radar. I had heard it because I'd heard Antergos and I'd heard, this was Endeavor, right? Is the other one that came out of
Antergos,
that.
yeah.
So, they were always on my radar, but this is really when I was like, okay, well, maybe I should give Manjaro a try. It seems like they're making moves. So, yeah.
Yeah, and it accomplished a couple of major things, right? Now you see Phillip Muller and Bernard Landar, they're now full-time employees, right, of this company. So they can focus on development. And that's big because Muller even says the mission and goals of Manjaro will remain the same as before to support the collaborative development of Manjaro and its widespread use. This effort will continue to be supported through donations and sponsorships, and these will not, under any circumstances, be used by the established company. So they are still saying, donate, kick in money, the community is important, and we're going to use this to dedicate towards development of this product that they have. And it's really good. This allowed them to establish some pretty big partnerships. We've heard from Star Labs, B-Link recently. That looks like a pretty awesome little machine. Tuxedo, I believe, you can get with Manjaro shipping now. PinePhone we saw today and recently. Order the community edition of the PinePhone with Manjaro shipping. They also have developed ARM images for the Pinebook Pro and the Pinebook, the Raspberry Pi 4, the Rock Pi, and the Rock Pro 64.
Well, not just that. The Pinebook Pro is shipping with Manjaro KDE, right?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So a lot of awesomeness has come from them, from being able to focus on that for it to become their full-time day job instead of something they're just working on after hours. So really cool stuff involved in their history. So now that brings us to today. And typically when we talk about releases, we're talking about, they added all these new features, but this is an Arch-based distro, right? So they have been adding features as they go. But there are some really cool things involved in Manjaro. And we should probably talk about a few things that separate true Arch from Manjaro. And one of those is the repositories that are involved.
Wait a minute, hold on. Are you saying Manjaro is not Arch? They're different?
That is such a can of worms, dude.
Wait a minute.
That is
Hang
such a can
on.
of worms.
all these Arch by the wayers.
Yeah. I don't
Really just using Manjaro, huh?
Yeah.
I don't think you're going to get many people. Well, okay, so let me rephrase that. I think you're going to get many people saying on one side, Manjaro is Arch, and then on the other side, you're going to have many people say it's not Arch. You're just going to have a back and forth argument like Ford and Chevy, like just snap or flat pack. Like it's just going to be one of those never ending arguments.
I do love seeing that on the internet, though. It is pretty funny to watch and read through.
But there are some technical differences, so.
There are. And the repositories are one. So you've got the ability to choose from 3 different ones. You've got Unstable, which is their bleeding edge. That's going to take you as close to touching the sun of Arch as you can, but it's still about 3 days behind Arch. So it's still like, I mean, if you're coming from Ubuntu, like that's way bleeding edge. Like someone's like 3 days. I've been waiting 6 months to get a.
So it's like you're orbiting the sun. You're not rocketing toward the center of it.
Yeah, you're kind of, you know, those little like splash rays that come up off the sun, like that'll come out and get you if you were still alive while you were there. You probably wouldn't be alive, but
probably wouldn't be alive.
It's kind of like that. Like, you can still melt. So that's the bleeding edge. That's the unstable. Then you have testing. Now, testing means it's gone through at least the initial phase from unstable. So there's been a little bit of, does this actually work involved, and will it work with our system? And stable. And I think that's probably where most people live, I would imagine. It's very comfortable for me on stable. It takes me where I kind of want to be on some of my installs of Manjaro. And these are packages that are generally running about 1 to 3 weeks behind, but they have all been deemed stable by the dev team. So they've kind of passed muster.
Now, this is what you get right off the bat, right? You don't have to do anything to be on stable. You're just on stable by default.
Right.
Okay.
You got to go ask for pain if you want it.
Okay. See, and that's a good thing. I think that's a really good thing. But one of the things that I noticed about stable was that there's really no delineation of packages. So take Firefox, for instance. This is one that actually caught me off guard. On Manjaro, I am currently on 79. On Mint, I'm currently on 80. So what I mean by there's no delineation, it means that Firefox 80 is held for 1 to 3 weeks as well. And Firefox was released on, as we're recording this, Friday, so that was about 3 days ago. And Manjaro just doesn't have it. So this is one thing that actually, it just really caught me off guard. I totally expected Firefox to be exempt from the 1 to 3 week hold because of the nature of browsers, because of the nature of, well, there's security updates coming out every single week, every single day. So, once it hits, maybe give it a day and then drop it on through. But it caught me by surprise. I don't know why I thought it would be exempt.
Because you thought it was Arch.
Some things are, because I think they will rush through some bigger vulnerabilities. They'll rush those through. They don't always sit too long, and they'll end up unstable, I think, pretty fast.
So it just tickled me that I have a newer package on an Ubuntu base than I do on an Arch base right now.
You're right.
+1 for Mint, I guess.
Hey, and Ubuntu and Pop OS and everybody else too.
That's true.
Oh, and that reminded me, not even the beta of Firefox is, they're on 80 beta 7 or something like that. So they don't even have the full release of 80 on the development channel as well. That was just another oddity.
So if you move to unstable, well, then you should hit it today. It says it's roughly about 3 days behind. So 80, if you move to the unstable repositories, I bet you'd probably have some success.
And I'd cut myself on all those sharp edges.
Yeah, let us know how that goes.
Yeah.
So desktop environments available. I'm just going to say it. The most beautiful XFCE that you can get out of the box. That's my opinion, and I despise XFCE.
Send all your...
Come on, XFCE ain't that bad.
I feel it's so
I'm on Team
dated.
Joe.
I will agree with you, Joe, that Manjaro is super polished and probably the best XFCE version.
Yeah, I think I can agree with that too. It looked good. And then I tried to minimize something and then just poof, gone. So, I don't know. I need a little bit more candy than that.
Well, it's XFCE. I mean, that's
right.
You got some candy. It just, it was like the bite-sized candies.
True.
Like
okay, they're fun size.
Yeah.
Fun size. So not
size.
quite satisfied with a fun size. You got to have 2 or 3 of those, right?
Yeah. And there's no qualms about it. They're unapologetically focused their attention on XFCE, and it shows. Mm-hmm. It's got some really nice polish to it. Feels really nice. Now, I did put that in a couple of our channels, and boy, did I go, you got to go check out this one, this one, this one, this one. So I made a list of all these other amazing XFCE desktops that I am going to go check out so I can report back to our loyal few that were just outraged that I thought this was the best one. But I think we all can agree it's a really nice iteration of it.
It is.
For XFCE, I enjoyed it.
Yeah. So there are other officials, GNOME, KDE, again, both themed beautifully. I love the black to green. Like I just feel like they have a vision, they execute it. It's there. It's consistent.
I'm going to throw KDE in there as probably one of the best KDE versions as well. Because you think about this now, there are not many options for KDE. Like there really aren't. KDE Neon you could go, but that's just the most generic, bland KDE version out there. You have Kubuntu, which they have certain things that they do with it, and certain things are nice about it. But
double click.
Yeah.
But I'm sorry, but Manjaro has a really, really nice polished KDE version.
Endeavor also has a decent one, but it's not heavily themed. The spins that they have, quite a few. Awesome. BSPWM, Budgie, Cinnamon, i3, LXDE, wow, LXQT, not surprising, Mate, and OpenBox. Plus their architect build where you can just kind of have at it and do what you want. You really want some pain and you don't want to do it quite the Arch way, but you really want to learn some things. Architect is there. And that's pretty much basically a CLI installation that you better know what you're doing when you're in there.
So Rocco, that one's your next one, right?
No. i3 actually is a very nice version of i3, the community edition.
Yes.
It really is. You should try it. If you're looking to try i3, obviously Regolith is very nice. But the Manjaro i3 is pretty awesome.
Foreboding.
Shh, don't say it out loud or it'll become true. File manager based on obviously the desktop environment we're going to choose. So
Dolphin
we're not
for
going to highlight
KDE,
that.
best file manager on the planet.
Right.
It's really good. It's really good. Right behind Nemo.
No, it's right in front of Nemo. I think you got that wrong, Leah.
You guys spend too much time in your
180
file
degrees,
managers.
something like that.
I just want my file. I don't care.
Just open the terminal. Thanks.
Gotta have some flair, Joe. Gotta have some flair when you get your files.
I'm all about the flair. I don't look for it in my file manager. I want it
Dan
everywhere
is
else.
all about flair, Joe.
Yeah.
Well,
Yeah.
Points for the terminal, though. I'll agree with that.
yeah.
So the
Dan's-
GNOME edition came with Ranger. So there you go.
Talk about flair.
Dan, you have to wear 35 pieces of flair on your desk.
Oh, yes.
35, not 36, not 34, 35 pieces of flair.
I'll work on that.
Look at Rocco. Rocco's got 50 pieces of flair. Dan, don't you want to be like Rocco?
Don't you want to be like Rocco, Dan?
Nobody wants to be like Rocco, let me tell you.
Rocco doesn't want to be like Rocco.
All those pieces
Right?
of flair are in the right place, right? They aren't out of place or anything, are they?
Gosh, it's a
Wherever
pixel
you
off.
want them to be.
Let's go beat a printer. All right. So as far as package management goes, you have Pacman on the command line. And then if you are in for a GUI interface, you've got Paymac, which used to only be GTK, but now they have a Qt version as well. So it's pretty consistent across the board as far as that goes from a GUI interface. Shipping with systemd, of course, these days, that's the way it goes. And your display manager is going to be, again, based on the distro you're using. From window management, we are on X. Wayland is available if you aren't on NVIDIA. But one of the really cool things I think that Manjaro does is, as Phillip mentioned in their initial release way back in 2012, is it scans your hardware and it's like, oh, you've got NVIDIA. I'm just going to cut Wayland out. You don't need this. This ain't ready for you. You're not ready for prime time. So it's not going to give you Wayland if it's not appropriate for your system, which is a pretty neat little feature. Helps us stay out of trouble and not break things. And then once Wayland is more stable for NVIDIA, then perhaps we'll see it in the distro. So that is Manjaro in a nutshell.
That's a big nutshell.
Yeah.
I want to go back to Pacman real quick because I am a command line guy. I tend to fall down there a lot. I just want to say those single letter
Dash S Y
options.
Y U Y Y U Y U dash S.
Let me
is so
touch
intuitive.
on that real quick. It is. It's
it makes all
not-
the sense in the world.
It's so not intuitive. So I thought, so I see SYU all the time. So, I mean, I assume that just, updates everything, right?
Yeah, sure.
I got all the options mixed up. I thought U was upgrade. I thought Y was yeah. And then S was like sync it up.
Right, sudo
But it's
yes,
all
yes,
backwards.
upgrade. I don't understand. What's wrong with
It's
that?
all backwards. S is install.
Right.
Y is sync the archive.
Oh, no,
and
it's
U
not.
is
Yes.
up.
No.
Yeah, it's refresh the archive or sync up with the archive or what. Oh yeah, actually, yeah, you had me going for a sec. I had to I'm gonna click back over to the man page real quick and make sure I'm not saying anything wrong. But and then the funniest thing was Rocco, you had some packages that were held for a little bit, and we were like, okay, well, I had recommended, well, just do capital S because that syncs it super hard. Well,
No.
that's why.
Yeah. S
Why
syncs
syncs
Y,
it?
fail.
So,
Yeah, that's what you want.
yeah, so Y syncs it. YY syncs it really hard, and then YYY syncs it even harder. So it just not intuitive, and it's probably because I'm coming from apt or DNF, but just
Yeah. No.
oh wow.
Dan's going to justify it all for us
I got
right now
nothing.
because he's smarter than the rest of us.
I know how it works now, but
Yeah. That was the first thing I learned was the capital S, the Y, the U, and then throw an extra Y or U whenever you need help.
Yeah.
That was it. That's it. Yeah.
I had to use the BSD options to really understand what was going on, but I thought it was really funny when you had to do refresh. It was like dash refresh, dash refresh.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
The fresh
By the
maker.
way, I run Arch. I don't know how to update it.
Yeah. Hey, you don't have
Right.
to.
That's what you need, Leo. You know what? Instead of the S, Leo, maybe it was because you were hitting $.
Oh, whoopsie daisy.
So that's what it was. Too many dollar signs in there.
Too many dollar signs.
Tack
It can't handle that many.
YU.
Yeah, didn't
UI.
like that.
Sui. Hey.
We have to get back on Manjaro.
Okay. Manjaro. So you guys. So Manjaro is not without some fun history as well and interesting things over the last few years. Let's talk about a few of those.
Well, so last year they decided to make a switch to free Office over Libre Office. And what happened was they ended up putting it out there in a beta or a release candidate, one or the other. I can't remember exactly which one.
I think it made it a release candidate.
Yeah, and people saw it, that it was in there, and they hadn't really talked about it. So that just sent everybody in. I mean, the biggest frenzy, crazy, loopy
They were grabbing pitchforks.
outburst.
Yeah.
They were. And it was probably handled wrong, as far as they probably should have been out front with it and put it out there before they put it in there, if you can follow me. But they ended up coming to a compromise where they have a thing in the installer where you can choose. You choose either one for your install. And I think that's a great option.
I think that's the right choice, but I don't see why it was such a big deal prior. Isn't Manjaro all about the choice? Whereas, what would it matter what they gave you? Because you're gonna just pop it open and pop the hood and change it out however you want to do it anyway. If Canonical did something like that without talking about it, without just any of that, I could totally see why. Okay, these stable machines need to not have these types of options thrown at them for no reason. But Manjaro, really? It's such a big thing from the outside looking in, I guess.
They were trying to establish a relationship with the company behind Free Office.
Right. SoftMaker, right?
Yeah, SoftMaker. And they even had their developers working with SoftMaker to fix certain things in Free Office so that they could get it better on Linux. And I thought that was awesome. I thought it was a great thing. But, like I said, it kind of maybe was handled wrong because there was no heads up to say, hey, we're switching this around.
Yeah. A forum
because
post would be nice.
Right.
Yeah, it would have been announcement, something, anything.
But the choice, I think, is still the best option of all of the things that they could have possibly done. Just give the choice.
And there was something good that came out of that, where you can now, before this, you couldn't save files in the SoftMaker's Free Office in certain formats. In the free version, you'd have to go to the paid version to get it. And it ended up being that SoftMaker worked with Manjaro to the point where they added into the free version that you could save these certain formats. And there again, we always talk about working with companies and making things better on Linux, and
Right.
good did come out
I think
of it.
beyond that, they also worked with Calamares, the installer, and now everybody that uses Calamares has the option to, have these choices when they install, different distros. So, I think that's a double whammy right there in a good way.
Yep. More
So
distros,
correct
not
me
less.
if I'm misremembering, but wasn't the controversy of it more about proprietary versus open source?
Oh,
yeah, it was.
That's
I
different.
think wasn't that the big, because I get like Leo, like it doesn't make like, okay, yeah, whether you do Libre Office or like, but isn't Open Office proprietary?
Now this
Wasn't that the big
changes
Free
things.
Office?
Yep.
Yeah,
Free
well,
Office, sorry, isn't Free Office
and it's
proprietary?
closed source, right? Yeah. Okay.
sure.
Now that from as an open source advocate, I can
Yeah.
totally see where the issue is.
So earlier this year, they had an issue with their treasurer, and he ended up leaving because of a big fiasco of funds that he was in charge. Well, okay, so there's a whole story of he put his story out first, which made everything look really, really bad. Like it looked really bad when it first came out, where he said that they were using funds inappropriately to purchase hardware that he denied. And then he was told that they just overruled him. So he just decided, I'm not going to have anything to do with this anymore, and left. And then he laid that all out in a forum post. If you just took that one side of it, it sounded pretty bad. Then Phillip went on Jupiter Broadcasting and explained a lot of that.
Yeah, I mean, and you know, a lot of these things are internal organizational things. And the one thing about open source is it's open. So everybody knows what's going on. And you know, when I listened back to Phillip talking about it, you know, I kind of got it, you know, like, all right, they had laid the company out, the business side of it out in such a way though, that one guy's doing his job and the other guy's like, hey, guess what? I'm in charge. I think we should do it this way now. So he makes himself the treasurer, which is an interesting choice. And regardless of how you feel about all that, I think a lot of these little things, the Free Office thing, Libre Office, this thing, it's the optics of it all, right? We're onlookers, and we're just kind of watching this play out. And then you pair that with some of these other things that happened. It's just interesting. And it's stuff where it's one of those things you just kind of file it away and you go, oh, okay, sorry all that happened. But it was basically over a laptop that was going to get sent off to a developer that's working on the system.
That needed
and I guess
it.
Yeah. That needed it. Yeah. So, I mean, it's just the optics of them not cooperating and not being on the same page and not getting along and then airing dirty laundry in a public forum just looks a little bad.
Speaking of forums,
What forum?
Yeah.
Wait, yeah, where? Which ones?
Couldn't
Whose?
find those. Where'd they go?
Dan, where did their forums
Well,
go?
I don't know, but they had a little issue there with an upgrade,
Somewhere
I
in
think.
the ether.
And the backups didn't go as planned, so they had to, I don't know, they had to regroup, and they've got new forums now. They did manage to save some of the old forums and archive it, but all of the users were lost, and so they are not in the new forum at all. And yeah, we've basically broken off and started anew.
I don't understand. So you have forums, and then you have a backup or backups of them. I didn't get to hear. I know that Phillip went on Jupiter Broadcasting, but I did not get to hear that episode yet because I'm way behind on my podcast. I actually listened to newer ones since then, but I didn't get to hear the explanation for what happened to the forum. So did anybody hear?
From what I understood, it was corrupted, and then all the backups were corrupted. So I don't know if like somebody's
How's
kid
that happen,
spilled
Joe?
chocolate milk on the computer. I don't know. Like usually your
benefit of the
backups
doubt.
are in a different place from the source, and you know we all do some sysadmin stuff here. Like even in your own life, like your backups are safe away from the originals.
Benefit of the doubt here. This
Sure.
has happened to me where you take your backup, right? Not RAID, not some kind of redundancy or anything like that. You take a true blue backup and then you make another backup to take off site. What you didn't do was restore your backup to find out if you actually had a backup or not. So if something was already corrupt, then you back that corruption up, and then you truck that off site, put it 100 miles away, or you put it in the cloud or something like that. When you restore that secondary backup, it's still corrupt. So, yeah, giving all the benefits of all the doubts, that could have been what happened.
Yeah. I will say, if you don't
Could
test
have.
your backups, you don't really know if you have a backup.
Yeah.
Yeah. You know what? Maybe there's some more info on that on the forum. Let me go.
Oh, no.
Yeah.
Wait, oh, oops.
But you still can get to the forums, correct? Through
You can.
archive.org? You can?
They have an archive. They actually have an archive at manjaro.org that you can get to the forums.
And then I was seeing that you can actually take their manjaro.org/forum, whatever link, and put archive.manjaro.org, and that will flip you to it. Yeah, that's actually, I fixed an issue with that. Thank you.
Oh, did you?
Archive.
You're so
Searching
smart.
on Google might be a problem, but yeah.
That's why
That's where the dollar sign comes in.
Yeah,
dollar signs.
exactly.
Yeah, searching on Google's not going to yield you a whole lot of fun stuff at this point. You're going to end up at a lot of broken links. You'll end up at the new forum, but it'll say like, hey, this doesn't exist.
Not
Check
yet.
out our new
Yeah.
forum. Not yet. So be patient, and you may have to, again, maybe follow Leo's advice there. If you got a fresh install of Manjaro and you're looking for some help,
Yep.
you might go to their forums and search directly instead of using Google, because I did find some helpful information there on some of the current issues we faced while we were working on this.
Yep. Stick archive in
Yeah,
front.
their forums are very active, so I don't think you'll have to give it a ton of time, and you'll see some good content there and things to search for in the new forums.
So Twitter, anybody been on Twitter lately? You guys follow the old guys at Manjaro?
Well,
yeah.
I do follow Manjaro, and they put a tweet out the other day that I actually saw, and then it was gone.
Yeah, it was a wowie.
It's been some time in the public. It was there for a little bit.
I mean, we talked about it for a good minute. It was a night.
It was there
for an
overnight.
evening and a day.
yeah, sure enough.
There overnight. It was replaced by an apology, which I thought, okay, that was really nice, and there was an apology, but it was an interesting decision on that post to Linus Torvalds telling somebody they were number one in a very interesting manner.
Two
Yep.
number ones.
Yeah, and they had pointed it at NVIDIA, and again, I think it was pulled from a forum post, if I'm not mistaken. So it was
Yes.
linked to a forum post.
Yeah.
So again, even on the forum post, I thought, well, this is interesting. So some interesting decisions being made, and again, there was an apology, and yep, look, we've all made mistakes. We've all been on Twitter too late at night before too, but just you pair that with, I mean, all this stuff we just talked about, it's been like 6 months.
One thing
right?
after another.
Not long.
And it just, there's a lot of things going on. So it does make you curious about the health of the project in general. All we can see is what we see. I don't know,
To their credit on this thing,
Here's Leo with all the positive. Go ahead, Leo.
you have to. You have to.
Yeah.
I got to put on my rose-tinted glasses and pretend it's 100% great. So what he was saying about that was, from his snap decision, I don't think all the information was there. From a snap decision, it looked like NVIDIA was just going to be incompatible with kernel 5.9. And it was not going to be able to be shipped with Manjaro, which this is, at least on the forum post, was being blamed on NVIDIA. And then you can start to see why the sentiment toward NVIDIA was there. Why that picture of Linus Torvalds to NVIDIA, that picture was there. So that kind of snowballed, and it was late at night, who knows? And it turned into a situation that had to be apologized for. But either way, I don't know that the sentiment was misplaced. Just maybe took it too
Right.
far.
I mean, it's a can we've been kicking down the road for a while now, so.
Right.
In those situations, it's sometimes best to let it play out before you react to it.
Exactly. Snap decisions are a no-go in this kind of area, especially when you're as visible as you are.
Yeah, and the lesson I hope that comes from this, because again, there was an apology, so there was some admission of like, it's probably a bad idea. If we go back to where we kind of started with this conversation, in the last year, they've made some big changes. We're becoming a business. We want to be something bigger than a distro.
Right.
When you pull that trigger, it's one thing if, you're working on a smaller distro and it's you and two other guys and you're just whatever, you're shooting off at the mouth. And yes, that happens. It's another thing if now you're a business with investors perhaps, or I know they're not for profit, but there's a lot of people putting money in there. Somebody's putting money into there to keep payroll going. Now you're representing everybody that touches your project. You're no longer just a guy mouthing off. So I hope that was at least, maybe a lesson learned, to put a positive on it, I hope.
There was some whiplash, I'll tell you that.
Well, we just highlighted there are a lot of good things that came out of that decision to become a business. And there's also some rough patches that you have to learn from and move on. So,
yep, I chalk it up to learning.
Yeah.
I really do.
Yeah.
All right, guys. So we've 2 weeks now, we've been playing with Manjaro. What do you think? Is it the beginner-ready distro that YouTube wants us to think it is?
Oh my gosh, yes. Everybody should install this on every single computer that they own. Raspberry Pi, Pinebook.
No matter
it's
skill
not.
level or no.
Whoa.
If you're
It's
switching your
not.
grandmother,
Whoa,
bring her
whoa.
right in. Just ship her a USB.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Dan, center me here.
I'm not so sure about that. I think there's going to be some cuts along the way, and you might not want to start here. I think it's great if you've been in Linux for a while and you decide you want to take it up a notch and you want to, start tinkering with things a little bit. I think that's a great way to go. I think it's a good stepping stone.
It drives me insane when I see these videos that tell people that Manjaro's the best one for gaming, that Manjaro's the best one for new users. Don't get me wrong, Manjaro's great for gaming. But you don't tell people, look, there are so many people looking to come over from Windows to Linux. A big stopper in that is gaming. So there are people out there that are looking to come over and are waiting till the gaming at an end of it is better so they can. Don't tell those people to go install Manjaro when they don't have any Linux experience at all. I mean, wait, Leo, I boot into Manjaro, I install it and I boot into it. And the first thing that comes up is, hey, there's a new kernel. Well, we suggest, no, it says, we suggest you update. Are you really kidding me? You're going to tell a new user to update his kernel?
Exactly. The whole thing about this is you got to remember the target audience for this. This is for people that do not use Linux, right? Ever. And they're on Windows or they're on Mac, and so they know how things work over there. And the first thing you're going to tell them is go to Manjaro, and the first thing they see is how do you update your kernel? And the first question they're going to have is, what's a kernel?
Yeah.
So,
Well, Leo, as one Leo to another, it's for people who like to mess with computers.
now, if this is you, right, if you're on Windows and you have mucked around in the registry, not blindly, not grabbing some utility off the internet and just double-clicking on it and hoping for the best, like you dug into it and you understand a bit about it, this Manjaro might be for you. But for someone that doesn't even know the version of Windows they're on, you ask them, what version of Windows are you on? Not 1903, not 1909.
I'm on 10,
Yeah, they're like,
man.
yeah.
It's Windows 10.
7,
It's
8,
always the same.
10. Right, yeah. It's been Windows 10 since I installed it 3 years ago. Yeah. It's going to be a rough ride for you, I think, if you come straight to Manjaro.
Yeah, and especially if you had an experience like I did, where I installed and, I got a black screen.
Ooh.
Ouch.
I thought we were done with the black screen
Nope.
days.
Got a black screen, so GDM didn't like me, apparently. I don't know. Thankfully, Joe found Joe started a forum post, and he found the answer.
Well, there was this empty new forum. I had to put something in there. I mean, come on, let's fill this sucker.
What a
We got a
contributor.
forum. Let's use it.
I'm sure there was a workaround in the old forum, but we couldn't find
Well, I
that.
don't know. Joe found the fix for it, too, so he finished his forum post.
Yeah, I want to point out, this is the only time this is ever going to happen. I helped Dan do something. So I'm going to wear this like my arch badge.
Mark it
I
on
was
your
out
calendar.
of my element.
By the way, I helped
You guys
Dan.
had me on Gnome. You had me out of my element right there. That was it. I was flailing.
Yeah, strike one.
Couldn't handle the flash,
Nope.
could you, Dan?
Actually thinking back, I booted to a black screen, but it wasn't because something crashed or something like that. It was that XFCE doesn't like to handle my laptop if it's docked. So if I close the lid, XFCE is just like, oh, you want all your displays off. Wait, no. Well, I've got a display sitting right here, and it's obviously on, and then eventually it's just like, no, how about not?
I like that you talk to your computer a lot. That's a really good relationship.
I think it might be an IT thing. I don't know. I can't speak for all IT folks, but I talk to it a lot.
I talk to mine. I switched to another TTY, and I could switch back, and then I got a graphical interface there to work with. It was a lot better.
Yeah.
It is the oddest one too, because even some of the forum posts I found said, "Oh, well, hit TTY and then log in," and you'll go, "We never had to log in. We just had to switch between 2 and
back.
1." And I was back to GDM loads. We couldn't find an error. We looked and tried. I have all the logs. So I don't know.
So you were holding it wrong, right?
Yeah, I think we were.
I guess.
Yeah.
I don't know. It's crazy.
It's too much like Arch. You gotta hit that command line real quick, and then it's like, oh, okay, you want to use me now? Cool.
Yeah, you just had to wake it up. We had to poke it. Like, hey, you.
That was actually one of the suggestions to fix my issue. The non-screen, to swap over to TTY1 and then back to TTY
feature.
whatever. Yeah, it never moved, so my screen never popped on.
It worked for me, so I don't know.
Good.
Yeah, it worked. And then I don't know what the other thing was we installed. I don't know what it does, but it.
Yeah, some sort of computational thing in the
it fixed
background.
it like four times. Yeah, I don't know. Something to do with numbers and displays.
You should probably just keep it to yourself and not tell anybody about it, Joe.
It's on the forum now.
It's solid.
It's public forever on the internet now.
Yeah, I copy-pasted that sucker out of the internet and was like, yes, it works.
And it did. It fixed
Dan,
it.
here, have some pasta. Have some arch linguine with a little bit of pesto. Yeah, it was great.
Did fix it. It was cool.
Flavorful.
Yeah. What'd you guys think of Hello? Is it Manjaro Hello? Was that what it is? Yeah. What do you guys think of that? I think it's amazing.
Yeah, I think it was a great thing to have. Actually, no problem. It gave you links to the things that could help you out, like forums. Yeah, nice little walkthrough. I liked it. I think.
Really?
No, you don't.
Really?
No.
I don't know, Dan. If you're Dan Simmons, you might like.
It wasn't
this.
flashy. All
Okay.
right. You got me.
It's not
you got me on
flashy
that.
at all, dude. It does not walk you through like a.
Yeah, you said walkthrough.
All right,
I was
so
like,
it's got
what?
links to all the things.
Where?
Yeah, you got me there.
It's got all the
Okay,
links.
yes.
It's not Mint. Mint has the best
Well, that's
walkthrough
true.
one. I'll give him that.
This is a welcome screen from 5, 6, 7, 8 years ago. That's basically what it hasn't changed much. Got links to everything you need, but it's not going to walk you through anything. And that's, I guess, maybe a good bad thing, depending on what skill level you're at. But it definitely is not going to walk you through like a Linux Mint welcome screen, not even a Budgie.
Yeah, it's
Ubuntu
not.
Mate. Like those welcome screens are awesome for walking you right through the steps that you need to do. But this is not that.
But this is for new users, so they don't need that kind of thing.
That's true, right? I wonder.
Who needs hand-holding?
So I'm looking at it. I wonder where the forum link took you to.
Imagine that. Let me
I
click
think
it.
it might take you to the new forum.
I hope so. That would be good. After an update, right? I would assume you have to get your updates first.
It does take you to the new form.
They did
Okay,
add
good,
the
good.
Mate style like GNOME layout manager. I thought that
Yep.
was pretty slick, which I know you, Leo and Rocco, you guys didn't mess with GNOME, but I thought that was a neat feature, and it was laid out nicely. And
I
you
didn't
could do
have
the
that
whole.
in KDE.
Yeah.
I heavily customized my GNOME installation, as you all saw from the screenshots that I posted in Telegram and various different places.
I think that video card has changed you,
Yeah,
Dan.
you think so?
Yeah.
I mean, the amount of flash and glitz on that desktop, I go, man, Schickel has stolen Dan's account.
Well,
So what is this? What is this switcher in the GNOME version? I guess.
It's like Mate. You can say like, oh, remember, what is it, Mutiny? And they have all the different layouts that mimic,
Right.
Mac OS or Windows 10 or old GNOME, new GNOME, whatever.
so I think they're utilizing Arc Menu for a lot of that stuff, which is pretty great menu if you're on GNOME, honestly, because it can mimic just about anything. And for me, that was pretty fantastic. It had that along with 22 other extensions installed, not all of them enabled.
22.
Well, 23 total.
Stop it, Dan.
Yeah, it did.
Extensions were made to be installed.
That is a custom experience.
I did install another extension after that too, just to make sure I could break it.
I thought you were going to say you installed an extension that removes the extensions.
No. I put a hot corner one in there just so, I could try that
Was the
out.
extensions manager in there by default?
It is. It does.
It is, because they don't cut GNOME off at the knees like other hat-wearing distros.
It's about purity, Joe.
Right? Purity.
Well, pure GNOME is...
This is on the complete opposite end of the spectrum of that. Just so you know, I mean, we're over way over there.
Yeah, pure GNOME is GNOME. Okay, like I don't want GNOME. I want GNOME. No thanks.
So I tried the KDE version. Leo, you tried the KDE version, right? Come on,
No,
tell me
I
you
just
did.
I stayed on
Never
XFCE
mind.
the entire time
Whatever.
on both machines.
I had no issues installing it, I don't think. I had issues updating it afterwards, like you had mentioned earlier, Leo. I installed it on the test machine, which is an AMD machine. I installed it on the NVIDIA machine. On the NVIDIA machine, I had no problems whatsoever as far as updates. They just came through and everything went fine. On the AMD machine, I have certain updates that pop up a box that say, we're not going to update. Nope, not going to happen.
No soup for you.
You didn't put enough Y's in there.
That's when we went through the whole
need more Ys.
stuff.
More wise.
And I don't remember exactly how it was worded, but it basically said, no, we're not going to update. So when I go into SYYU and I did that, everything was up to date. Yet in the graphical package manager, it said that there was updates that needed to be updated. So I don't know what was going on with that.
Another Y. I think you needed 3.
Yeah, maybe.
Yeah.
Maybe 4.
more.
Try another U.
I do like how PayMac sorts the installed programs at the top. I really do
That is pretty
like
nice.
that. That's something I think should be everywhere. So,
Yep.
But the KDE version is really, really nice, really polished. So I did some gaming on it, put Steam on it, had good success with that as well. So my experience with it for the last actually 2.5 weeks, I think it's been, was really good once it was installed and once it updated.
Back to PayMac, though, one thing I appreciated that they had in there, which isn't available everywhere, is the one-click Flatpak, Snap, AUR support. So you go in, you tick those boxes, you've got all of it, and you just search for what you want and install what you want, and there's no fuss, no muss, just go get the packages you want. And I thought that's really slick.
I appreciated that a lot, actually.
I bet you did, you Mint user.
Yeah.
Hey, man, it's about being easy.
No, so they also have their other tool that they've created they call BAW, and that will search in either the Flatpaks, Snaps, or the AUR.
It can also handle app images. Yep.
That's
Yep.
right. All the universal file formats and package formats. And that was pretty nifty too, honestly, because you could search for any application and it would tell you where it was coming from with a nice little icon. It had the Snapcraft icon or, maybe the AUR icon, whatever, wherever you want to get it from. And so you could get your choice because then you could see the different version numbers and where they were coming from. And it just, nice little click install and away you went. It was pretty great.
I will say, if you're installing Flatpaks and Snaps, man, you're holding it wrong. You got to do the AUR. It's just AUR top to bottom. You're on an Arch-based distro. But what weirded me out about that, Chrome is in the AUR, right? I'm coming from Ubuntu distros, so I'm used to just going to Chrome, searching Chrome and Google and clicking on the deb and double clicking on it, and it just installs, right? So I'm like, well, you can't do that with Manjaro because there's no real package to go get. So I started searching around, couldn't find it because I needed Slack. Slack wasn't in the official repository. I was like, well, I think it's in the AUR, so let me just go ahead and turn that on. First thing I noticed about the AUR, at least in Manjaro, is it says, AUR is a community-maintained repository, so it presents potential risks and problems. All AUR users should be familiar with the build process. Now, here's the thing.
It's perfect for new users.
Right.
Nothing intimidating there at all, Leo.
I'm pretty sure in the hello screen they explain to you how to build packages. So it works.
Of course.
Step by step.
Just go
It's right
grab
there.
the
Just
Git
get it.
repository, whatever. But that's what gets me, right? Because a Windows user is going to go look for that browser first, and if Firefox is not their browser, it's probably Chrome. So when they go get Chrome, they're not going to find Chrome, and then they're going to have to Google it and figure it out, and then they're going to build Chrome. That was weird. But, I mean, either way, they have to check that box, and it has to say they have to be familiar with the build process, and half the users aren't going to read it and check it anyway, and the other half are going to be like, ooh, I don't want to do that. Let me just not do that. So, new user, whatever.
Right.
But anyway, I got Chrome. That was cool. The awesomest thing about Chrome in Manjaro, you didn't have to go and mess with the color profile to not have purple links.
That's important when you're looking
This
at
guy,
the links were
this guy
blue.
right here.
Take that, Fedora.
important when
Yeah.
you're looking at the Debian page. Yeah.
Yeah, the Debian page is the test. Go there. If it looks purple, it's wrong.
See, I think you're wrong. I think a new Windows user coming into AUR, are you kidding? They're used to just surfing the web and downloading garbage from all over the world to install.
But they're
'Cause
not
there
used
is
to
no-
building
there's-
it.
Well, not building it, but I'm saying the AUR is not scary to them. They're like, oh man, all the garbage I wanted to build is in one place anyways. Now I can just go find it.
As a Windows user, you don't have to flip a switch to install a virus, okay? You just go download it and double click on it, and then boom, Windows Defender's like, hey, what is this? Let's install it. So
Yeah.
with the AUR, you actually have to flip it on. So too many steps.
I love the AUR.
Wouldn't it
It
be
is so
cool
awesome.
if like they had a walkthrough welcome screen that said, hey, do you want to enable AUR? Do you want to
Yes.
enable Snap? Do you want to enable
Yes.
Flatpak? That kind of stuff. Man, that would be awesome.
Maybe the guy that was waiting on the new laptop, maybe that's his gig.
Maybe.
See?
Can't have it now. Sorry.
That's actually how I found out that Manjaro supported Flatpak and Snap. I was looking for the AUR, and I was like, oh, what? Flatpak and Snap too? All right. I didn't enable them, but I saw they were there.
I put them all on and just started installing just random whatever.
of
Just
each.
here, I want to see it all work. Let me break it. Yep, one of each. Here, I got 9 versions of Telegram on my desktop right now.
Everything was in the AUR. It never even crossed my mind to enable Snap or Flatpak outside of that, because every time I searched for something, it was like either official repository or available in the AUR. So
Yeah.
I was a happy camper. That has got to be one of the best things about Manjaro.
I did want to see them all interact with each other because I thought, maybe.
Oh, you just
know.
wanted it to break.
Well, I tried to.
Well, because if it's available, yeah, you want, because what if we sat here and talked about these features, but we never tried them, right? So I think, I'm guinea pig. I'm fine. It's good.
All right.
It's fine.
Yep, we'll try it so you don't have to.
There you go.
All right. So what are we doing with Manjaro? Since you all had amazing experience, you shipping your laptops off to grandma?
Well, hold
so she
on,
can
hold on.
use it? What's
Before we get there, I had a couple issues with Manjaro
Oh.
before we finish this out. Let me bring the whole conversation down for you real quick. So first one, right? So we had Fedora before this, and I still had my Fedora partitions on there. On both my laptop and my desktop, Manjaro was like, nah, I'm not going to use that disk. I'm like, what? So I literally, there was no other way to do this. I had to open up a terminal, launch fdisk, tell it the disk, remove all the partitions. It didn't remove all the partitions because there was LVM in use, so I had to go and LV remove the logical volumes, and I had to go back to fdisk and remove that third partition and then relaunch the Manjaro installer to make it work. Now, this isn't going to be typical because no one's just going to come in with a bunch of LVM volumes on their disk from Windows or something, but that is a curb I tripped over. Automatic time sync, I don't know why that was not on by default. So I had to go to settings, Manjaro settings manager, time and date, check set time and date automatically. Then it worked. Otherwise, it was a UTC, which is 5 or 6 hours away from me. So I had no idea what time it was. And then my laptop lid, I had to go through. So first off, I was like, surely there's a switch in XFCE to make this work, right? So I found XFConf, which is like dconf, I think, editor for GNOME. And first off, I found the regular old switches. Those just did not do anything. There was no do nothing option for lid. But it turns out that in XFConf there is. You turn it to 0, and that's do nothing. So I did lid action on AC to 0. That didn't work. I did lid action on battery because I was like, well, maybe it just thinks it's on battery or something like that. That didn't work. Login D handle lid switch. That didn't work either. I went to configure login D.conf. It didn't work. And then I went to turn on presentation mode. It didn't work either. So I found a forum
It's a lot
post.
of not working there, dude.
I go through this thing. So the whole reason that I found all these was because the forum was not there. But the last thing that I found was an Arch post for UPower. So apparently,
You're not allowed to go to the Arch.
when I went there, it basically said Manjaro users get out of here. So I was like,
it's in the terms and
"What?"
conditions. Like, I think Google scans your system first. You're not allowed.
But it had the answer. So it totally had the answer. It was Etsy upower.conf. That particular file, I had to go in, and there's an ignore lid option. I had to set that to true, and then I restarted upower, the service, and then I closed my lid, and it worked. I was happy. But then I realized it's going to ignore my lid forever. So if I undock it and take it somewhere and close my lid, it's just going to die because it didn't suspend or something
Always
because
running.
it's ignoring the lid. So yeah, so there's no middle ground for me. On a dock, I just have to have my lid open, or it's just going to totally ignore my lid. There's no middle ground. But those are very specific issues to me. So if you're not running on dock, you don't have to worry about any of that. If you don't have Fedora installed before you install Manjaro, you don't have to worry about that either. But the time thing, that was odd. Nobody used XFCE besides me, did they?
Nope.
I mean, I
Okay.
have it installed already. 'cause
You
I
didn't
had
have to
it
tinker
before.
with the time?
No, not that I remember, but I've had it installed for years now. Like, I mean, it's
okay.
it's not a fresh. I've just been on it for a long time. Are you sure that's not an XFCE issue with your lid thing?
Oh, no, it is. It has to be an XFCE
Oh, it's an
thing.
XFCE issue.
It's got to
Okay,
be. I can't, because it works fine in Cinnamon. It works fine in, it's every single other distro I've ever tried. It's worked just fine.
I had the same LVM problem, but I used Gparted because it was on my live disk. So
I gotta get as low down to the disk as possible.
Yeah, well,
And these have been the
fun.
lid wanderings of Leo $sign
Oh,
Chavez.
boy.
Tune in
Oh,
next week
boy.
when we discuss how his mouse pointer didn't work on his Lenovo book.
Don't get me started about the mouse.
So, what you got? You keeping it? We wiping it? What are we doing?
it's a tinker thing, and I don't have time for that. Sorry.
I'm shocked, Dan. You scream tinkerer.
I like to tinker, but like if I want something to get up and go, this wasn't going to be my choice. I mean, I put a lot of time into it, made it so that it was useful, but yeah, I'm not keeping that.
Yeah, same here. Me blazing through all that stuff. There was just so much to do to get it workable, usable, and consistently so. Yeah, this is the first one. This is the first one I'm going to say I got to nuke it.
Well, I am going to say yes and no. So I have it on the test machine, which is going to be nuked. But I have it on the main machine on a second drive. And that's going to stay because that's been there.
Wow.
So
That's high
Okay.
praise.
definitely going to keep it.
Yeah, I'll leave my. I installed test because I wanted to see how it was on GNOME. It is the only distro I use XFCE, and I'll keep my XFCE installed for forever. I've had it installed forever, and I like Manjaro. I think they're doing some really great things. I like the
are.
little separation between bleeding edge, and I think it's enough because I run in Endeavor, which is a little less cautious as Manjaro, and I run into a lot more issues than I do on Manjaro as far as from an Arch type system. So I like it. I'll keep it. I like to boot into it every so often and play around. So.
Housekeeping.
Housekeeping. The Linux community has some fantastic members, and we want to make sure to highlight that. In our podcast showcase for this episode, we have Late Night Linux.
Why is it called Late Night Linux, Dan?
Well, there might be an NSFW not safe for work warning that might apply here, but
Is that new window manager?
No. Some of the words might not be appropriate. But anyway, I do love their honest take on things. And every 2 weeks, you can catch Joe, Phillip, Graham, and Will as they discuss the latest news and releases and the broader issues and trends in the world of free and open source software. I know you guys listen to this, and I know you've been following along to some of their latest episodes where they're talking with a potential new Linux user. What do you guys think?
I think Kyle's out. Ain't happening. I feel like I'm watching Days of Our Lives. I can't wait for the next episode. I'm like, Kyle, don't do it.
We didn't need to push him out. He walked right out by himself.
Yeah. Yeah, I feel like Kyle's like, yeah, no. And Joe's like, yeah, try this. And it just,
no, he's not having it.
No, I don't like it.
This has been one of my longtime subscribe podcasts. I've listened to this one for a very, very long time. So definitely worth a subscribe.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it goes without saying. I think Late Night Linux is on every podcatcher out there for anybody that's in Linux. The chemistry between the four guys is awesome. I mean,
amazing.
You got Phillip. I love him. He's awesome, dude. He's going to come up with open source. He's going to come up with KDE something.
The KDE corner.
Yep.
KDE corner,
and
baby.
they don't hold back. That's the thing that I love. You get the honest answer, or at least their honest answer, how they feel.
And Graham, he's so conservative and watches what he says and says it in the right way, but he has such great thought. He's like that deep thinker, and Will, he's just that on the fly, off the cuff guy that just talks the way he wants to talk and doesn't care what you think about it. So, and of course, goes without saying, Joe is pretty awesome at putting all that together. So yeah, definitely a great podcast.
One of my faves.
All right. You can get more information at their website, latenightlinux.com.
I just unsubscribed so I could subscribe
There
again.
you go. They'll love that. And if you like what you hear on this show, please consider sponsoring us on Patreon. Head on over to patreon.com/LinuxUserspace. That's patreon.com/LinuxUserspace, all one word. Please follow us on Twitter @LinuxUserspace to get the latest announcements for this show and highlights for things that impact your user space.
Dan, will we get to hear about new episodes on our Twitter?
Yes, you can. Leo and Joe and you and me, we all get on there and we post all sorts of stuff, but we definitely talk about the latest episodes.
You never know who's going to be replying through that Twitter feed.
If it's a cheesy tweet, it's probably
I
not
don't know.
me.
I like to keep people guessing.
Well,
Did you e-read that? Because no.
I think Joe E reads.
I read it, I deleted, and I reseeded. It was a lot of E's.
It's all about the ether, man.
But it made me giggle, so that's good.
And we have our growing Telegram group. Please join us over at linuxuserspace.show/Telegram to continue the conversation. Lastly, don't forget to rate this podcast on iTunes or your favorite podcast application, and like, comment, and subscribe on YouTube.
I hear there's confetti that comes down from your phone if you hit 5 stars.
Ooh, nice.
Wow, that's awesome. I got to go do it now.
You can always get more information at our website, linuxuserspace.show.
Leah, it didn't happen.
I was sure. Okay, maybe if you tell your friends, they do it. Maybe that's
you got
what
to turn
is.
it upside down.
Oh.
The
Yeah.
confetti's got to fall.
It's like a
Right.
chain
Oh,
mail.
come on, just turn it
We'll have
upside
to
down
work
and
on
push
that.
it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You get 3 friends, and then they each get 3 friends, and then just supposedly confetti. I don't know.
Podcast pyramid scheme. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, of course.
I like that.
Yeah.
No, it's multi-level marketing. This is App Focus, where we focus on the app. This app, Rofi. What?
What?
Wait, what?
Yeah. What even is
Is
Rofi?
there a dog in the room?
Woof.
Yeah,
Rofi. Oh, Rofi.
Rofi. Yes.
Thought I
So-
ended up in a bar again.
Every time, Joe. If you have been needing a launcher, I've been needing a launcher for a very, very long time. I've tried Synapse, I've tried ULauncher, I've tried, there were like 2 or 3 others out there that I've tried, and none of them hit that sweet spot of just launch everything. Rofi hits that sweet spot for me. It is a launcher app for those that are longing for the 90s. At least if you leave it on the stock theme.
Yes, that's what it looks like, the 90s.
Yeah.
90s is being
and it's
generous.
beige, too. It's beige like those computers that you would build, right?
This was developed on a Tandy.
It might not
right?
even be flashy enough for me.
Oh, man.
Wow.
See, well, hold on.
That's some high praise there.
Go get the Arthur theme, and it looks modern enough.
Speaking of
I
the
think.
80s,
Did you just say modern enough?
Well, I mean, it's got transparency. Eh?
Well, that's cool.
That's all you need. So I bound this to F1 because, I mean, really, how many times have you pressed F1 to ask for help? Yeah, 0. On accident, maybe. Yeah. So yeah, bound it to F1. That will launch it for me, where it will do Rofi-show space run. And that will get you to what you expect from a launcher. You type in a thing, you hit enter on the thing, and the thing shows up. That's what Rofi does. But it also will launch your SSH sessions. It reads your known hosts file, and it just populates it. So if you have logged into any SSH machine, even before any machine with SSH on it, even before you installed Rofi, it knows about it. So it will relaunch it for you if you hit that thing. So you open up Rofi, you can do Control Tab, and it will cycle through. You'll get SSH, so all of your SSH, and it will get workspaces and windows. So if you've got 8 different workspaces with 90 different windows splayed across them, Rofi will help you switch through all of that stuff as well. So it does all the things. It ticks all the boxes for me. I really enjoy being able to just think about what I want. A couple of keyboard clicks later, I'm where I want to be. Now, Joe, I ran into the same issue you did. So I forced you, held you down, moved your fingers for you to install Rofi, and you installed it, and you got some things launched, but you had some issues.
So I found that when I installed, what are they, flat packs, right? So on the flat packs, it just wasn't pulling up anything I had installed on flat packs. So
Which is weird because clearly you were holding it wrong because my flat packs showed
course.
up.
Well, turns out you got to reboot after you install some flat packs for it to actually see them. But yeah, well, at least that's what we thought. But yes, I had just installed some apps. I thought, man, this is terrible. It doesn't work at all. It's not finding my apps. What is this for, Leo?
So let me tell you, that fix didn't work for me. So everything worked fine on Manjaro, and then I realized later on that I didn't actually have any flat packs installed. If you guys remember back to the earlier point of the episode where I was like, no. But the thing about that was I installed it in Linux Mint as well because I liked it so much, and it's in the Ubuntu repository, so sudo apt install Rofi. Done. I have a ton of flat packs installed on Linux Mint. And even after a couple of reboots, I would launch Rofi, hit F1, I would type in Slack, nothing. So I actually do not know how to fix this as of right now. I have a workaround, but it's not a true fix. I can't just install a Flatpak and search it and it work. So what I ended up having to do, because Rofi will run commands for you as well. So, you know, that Alt F2 thing that we all have a habit of doing, Rofi does that too. So no need to do that anymore. I just did the whole Flatpak run com.slack.slack thing, and it remembered that. So next time I launch Rofi, I can just type in Slack and bingo bango. It looks horrible because it looks like Flatpak run com whatever, but it'll still launch the thing for me every single time. So workaround, not fully, but it seems like it worked just fine on Manjaro for you, Dan.
It did. I don't know why it worked for me and not for you guys, but I was able to search, and it did show up the weird names, but I didn't have to run it once. It still showed up the, com.slack.slack or whatever it is.
Do you launch your Flatpaks manually ever?
Not normally.
Okay, I was wondering if maybe it was just parsing your history or something like that, but interesting.
And maybe it had something to do with the Arc menu, because I had Arc menu installed, and I was using that, so maybe that had something to do with it. Not sure.
Okay. Yeah, I didn't do a lot of customization to mine, so whatever it was just stock.
Interesting.
So I did fix it, though, Leo.
Oh, wait. How'd you fix it?
Well, it turns out if you just hit the super key and start typing what you want, you get it anyways.
Wait,
you did it.
That's built into GNOME, right?
Yeah.
I think so, yeah.
Is it gnome-rofi?
There's this button, it's just 2 away from the space bar, And I mean, I tell you what, you just hit that thing and stuff flies out at you and you just start typing and enter, like you have your...
All I'm saying is that when I bind it to F1, I don't have to remove my entire hand from the home row. I can just pinky it if I need to, you know? I don't know. You gotta do some weird contortion-y stuff to get to the Windows key.
I see.
Really?
I don't have a Windows key. I have a super key.
Oh, that's right. It's not a Windows key. What? No.
I installed it. I tried it. That's all. That's all I got.
You uninstalled it.
I mean, dude, come on. This thing looks like it's from, like Joe said, before the 90s. Like it's
a
like,
Tandy, bro.
Come on, man. Like, if you're going to build a launcher, can't you at least put something into the thought of what it looks like?
Yeah, the default thing definitely needs some work.
I mean, if I go order it online, does it come on like a 6-inch floppy so I can install it? Or
Yeah, actually. And you can
awesome.
like after you've installed it, you can use it as a fan for yourself whenever it gets hot.
Oh, it's amazing.
Will I use it? No.
Leo, this is the first one I'm going to say.
Okay.
You've been solid all the way through. I can't do this.
All
one.
right.
I'm sorry.
I didn't think it was all that bad. I mean,
That's a shock, Dan. That
You're
you
my
didn't
man,
think
Dan.
that
That's it.
Well, it's an upgrade from LXQT. So I don't know.
well, no, wait a minute. This is an application that I probably don't need in most distros, in most desktop environments.
Well, that's
because
true.
They come with a launcher, right? But I did like the fact that it keeps track of your SSH connections, because that's something I go back to a lot.
And fuzzy search. Now, I think one of the biggest reasons I needed Rofi was because the Cinnamon menu doesn't do fuzzy search or anything like that. So this is a way for me to, mistype stuff.
And I think searching through your open windows and open workspaces, that was kind of neat for me too.
Yeah, it really ties the room together. It brings everything into one window where you can just find all the things on your computer without having to this menu, that menu, that menu, and that menu, and you can get your stuff. It's all together.
It's that ugly lamp in the corner of the room. It
Really
just
ties the room
ties it
together.
all together. I will say, Leo, the functionality, like I really do like the SSH stuff because I have Raspberry Pis, so I would pop it into those. The aesthetics, look, it's just like somebody just take a paintbrush, just slap a little bit on that puppy and, some lipstick on that pig and it'll be at least like early 2000s.
Yeah, I agree with you there. Yeah.
Yeah.
It could use a facelift.
98, maybe Windows 98, something.
Yeah. I'm going to keep it around, but I'm probably not going to install it everywhere.
Okay.
Nice.
Well, I'm definitely keeping it because it's pretty good.
All right. So we are changing the show. That's it.
Already?
That's all we got.
Oh, wow. Come on.
All right.
That didn't take long, did it?
So on a serious note, we're changing the format of the show to the extent of we are going to be trying our distros for a whole month. We are going to have a show like we had last episode where we talk about topics every other week. So every 2 weeks, we're going to have one show with topics and one show with a distro, which will give us a whole month. Why are we changing it? All right. One of the reasons that why we're changing it is because this will give us more time with the distro. We got 2 weeks with a distro, and that seems like a lot. But when you're doing, your full-time job during the day and you get family at night, and it doesn't always work out to be a lot of time. Okay. So that extra 2 weeks will give us a ton more time to talk about the distro. We'll also be implementing what we would consider the distro of the month, which that's basically what it's going to come about to be. So our distro of the month is so-and-so, and you guys can follow along with that. Joe, what else does this allow us to do?
It allows for a lot. I mean, I think we get to spend some time. We got a lot of good feedback on our last show where we spent some time on topics and things like that. It helps us explore those things. Definitely the time to really get into the nuts and bolts of the distro. I know we talk about it and, we spend time with it. But again, to your point, there's just some times where we just you want to get into the little nooks and crannies of everything, and we gives us a little more time to do that as well.
Leo, how many good topics are out there to talk about? That there's no way we can do it once a month doing a show. There's too many things to talk about, dude.
All the time. I mean, I think that's we have to make that decision every single time we do a distro. We're like, look, this awesome thing just happened, or this crazy thing just happened, and we really want to talk about it, but we don't have the time to do it. So yeah, it's the opposite of the distro shows are really going to give us that time to talk about these things that really do affect all of the users and the user space.
So Dan, when is the best time to make a change?
Well, right off the bat,
See?
That's the best time to make a change.
So
here we are.
So here we are. So
I hope you guys were comfortable because we're ripping out the rug.
So starting with the next episode that we're going to be doing, we are going to do another episode of fun topics that affect you in the Linux user space, followed by a episode where we talk about our distro of the month. Our distro, which for this month, the month of September, will be OpenSUSE.
Wait a minute. I wasn't consulted about this. This is not fair.
Too bad. You were overruled.
Tumbleweed.
Tumbleweed, yes.
Absolutely. Yep.
So for the whole month of September, we are going to be diving into OpenSUSE, and we hope you join us with that. We would love to hear some feedback on what you think of these changes. Even if you don't agree with these changes, we'd love to hear it too. Let us know what you think. Thank you, everybody, for listening today. We had such a great conversation. Guys, we talked about Manjaro a lot. Some of it was good, some of it not so good, but what do you think?
They're doing good work over there.
Definitely ticked all the boxes. We had a thorough conversation.
I enjoyed the conversation.
All right, where can we find you fine folks?
You can find me at Jojo_Fit.
You can find me at Leo Chavez.
You can find me at KC2BEZ.
And you can find me at Big Daddy Linux. Join us in 2 weeks as we return to the Linux user space.
I feel like Rocco's thinking.
Is he writing it down? He made me
I feel
write
like
it down.
he stopped thinking a while back because he's so tired. He's just like
I share his pain there.
almost.
Are you not reading the doc? I'm typing.
Oh,
Man, we don't know where you're talking.
I was looking at the bottom.
we're at the
sorry.
bottom of the dock. You're at the top of the dock.
The intro?
We finished the show, Rocco. Hey Dan, why did all my hyperlinks break?
We
I mean,
really
not-
need them right now, Joe?
Well, it looks ugly. No, I guess not. It's fine if you want to read the URL in the conversation for.
Well, there's only so much time in the day, Joe. So.
It's fine.
Oh, okay.
You see how it
I see.
It unfurled
that's terrible
everything.
looking, dude.
Yeah. There's only so many hours in the day, Rocco.
You know what I love? Markdown.
This show brought to you by Cody MD.
I can't even read that, dude.
Yeah, I copied a section down, and it should have just kept all the formatting. Burn!
It's tabs. It's always tabs.
That's what I said before. They should have kept the formatting, but everybody told me I was holding it wrong.
I don't know
You
what
were.
you did, Joe.
I just copy paste. Man,
Exactly.
son of a gun!
Housekeeping.
Is that a question? Is it a question? Housekeeping?
Housekeeping.
Housekeeping?
Me fluff your pillow. All right, here we go.